Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1161, and today's date is December 25th, 2016, and the title of the episode is The Current Economic Collapse News Brief. Now, before I get started, I just want to make two announcements. I just want to wish everyone a happy holiday today. No matter what holiday you are spending, I wish everyone a happy, healthy holiday. My second announcement is that I placed Lior Gant's interview up on the X22 Report Spotlight YouTube channel. You can go right over to YouTube and just type in X22 Report Spotlight, and you can see the video there. Or you can come over to the x22report.com site, scroll down a little bit, look over to your right-hand side, you'll see the video there, and you can play it. Or you can go to newssentinel.com, same thing, scroll down a little bit, look over to your right-hand side, and you can play the video there. Let's get right into the economic collapse news. Now, back in 2008, we understand these subprime securities, they were complete garbage, but we know the rating agencies, they rated them as AAA. Everyone believed that these were fantastic investments. Even the pension funds, they purchased these type of securities. And earlier this month, we saw $210 million worth of bonds. Well, they were stuffed with risky mortgages, and they were given a AAA rating. Now, this is one of the first times since the banking crisis that such a product has been awarded a prime grade. Now, this sounds really familiar. These are the same financial products, junk mortgage bonds, with a rating that makes no sense. And this is what triggered the crash in 2008. The new bonds in question are backed by unqualified mortgages. These are loans secured with a simple bank statement, no tax returns, very little vetting. Even Moody's, the rating firm that stubbornly held riskier, also known as subprime mortgage bonds at AAA before the crash, considers this type of loans risky. Yet, the mortgages are now finding their way into the AAA bonds, which means they could soon be in pensions and retirement savings once again. So here we are today with the same exact thing happening, and there are two rating firms at the center of all of this, DBRS and Fitch Ratings. And this isn't the first time they've rated risky bonds. And we can see right now that this whole thing is starting to look just like 2008 again. And we are definitely headed in that direction, and things are really starting to escalate right now, because we can see right now all bets are off. They're setting up the economy. They are pushing the stock market over 20,000. I wouldn't be surprised if it hits it right before the New Year's. We see unemployment down to 4.6%. GDP has been shoved up to 3.5%. And here we are with these same type of investments again, and we're heading into the same exact territory, because what they're doing is they don't care anymore, because they know the system's coming down. We see Obama, well, he quietly signed the Countering Disinformation and Propaganda Act into law late on Friday, after hours. Everyone was thinking about the holiday weekend. He decided to sign the National Defense Authorization Act, which authorizes about $611 billion for the military in 2017. And this also allows the U.S. to create the Ministry of Truth. It's called the Countering Information Warfare Act, but really, what is it? It's the Ministry of Truth, where they're going to crack down on fake news. They're going to create propaganda. And also within the NDAA, we see that there's a provision which allows the Pentagon to start research, development, test, evaluation of space-based systems for missile defense. Now, this could unsettle the decades-old balance of power among the major nuclear states, and it looks like this is starting a new arms race. And we can see that Russia, China, and other countries are going to look at this and say, what is the United States doing here? And we can see right now, this is all being done because they are pushing war. They're pushing it full steam ahead, and they're not going to stop. And I say they, the central bankers, the elite, they're not going to stop until they get the war they want. We see on Friday the United States abstained from the vote where it said the settlements in Palestine were completely illegal. And now Israel, well, they lashed out and they have suspended their multi-million-dollar contribution to a number of United Nations bodies, and it is reevaluating its relationship with the organization. We see out in Ukraine, it looks like Kiev is doing the same thing that the paid mercenaries have been doing. And when I say the paid mercenaries, I'm talking about the terrorists that were in Syria, in Iraq, and Afghanistan. Of course, we know the United States government, the central bankers, the coalition forces, they support them, they fund them. And it looks like Kiev is doing the same exact thing because, as we know, the United States government, central bankers, they support those individuals in Kiev. They are using people as human shields to seize territories in Donbass. The Ukrainian armed forces, they're continually seizing villages in the gray zone. And we can see the southeastern people, they're calling on the OSCE to influence Ukraine to withdraw their units and stop these threats and stop using civilians as shields. We see out in Iraq, where Obama promised there'll be no boots on the ground. The military personnel won't be fighting on the front lines. Well, over 5,000 U.S. servicemen who were deployed in Iraq, well, they're embedded with the coalition fighters on the front lines. And we can see right now that when they say no boots on the ground, it really means the opposite. There are going to be boots on the ground. And we have thousands and thousands of soldiers in Iraq, in this area, to keep control of Iraq, make sure the people are pushed back. And we see this happening in Libya. We see it happening in Yemen. We see it happen in Sudan. And right now, what is happening in the Middle East, the United States government central bankers, they are losing control of the entire situation. Remember, their plan was to capture all these areas, replace the governments, keep the petrodollar propped up, go into Syria, and then eventually go into Iran. Well, it looks like their plans have failed in Syria. They're failing in other countries, and this is a huge threat to the petrodollar. And it looks like the central bankers right now, they are losing rapidly in this area. Russia's coming in right now, and they are expanding their naval base in Syria. This is the naval base in Tartus in Syria, and they are creating a much larger naval base to hold control in this area. We see the United States is issuing warnings in Jordan, warning individuals not to travel to Jordan because of terrorist threats. We also see the U.S. State Department is warning Americans against traveling to Egypt. Remember, Egypt was supposed to push off the vote about these settlements in Palestine, and it looks like right now that Egypt is at the center of this, and we might see terror threats within that country. Who are these mostly coming from? I would say Israel, because Egypt didn't live up to the promise of pushing this vote off, and the vote went through, and we can see that Israel is very angry at this point. We see that a Russian military plane crashed en route to Syria, killing 92 on board. This was the Red Army Choir singers. They were going to Syria, to the bases there. They were going to sing to the troops for Christmas. And they were flying in a Tu-154 Tupolev plane, and it disappeared from their radar screens 2 minutes after taking off from Sochi in southern Russia. And we see right now that either this was a mechanical failure or the plane was brought down, and it was brought down by different agencies to send a message to Russia. Remember what happened in the past week. We've had the Russian ambassador. Well, he was shot in an art gallery. Then we had a senior NATO staff and Russian diplomat also dead in the same week. And now we have 92 people on this plane that was supposed to go to Syria to sing to the Russian troops. This was also brought down, or a mechanical failure. We don't know as of yet. But we can see that this is a strange coincidence that has occurred. And we know right now that the U.S. government central bankers, they are backed in the corner. They're going to provoke Russia at every turn. They want a war started. They have Trump coming into the White House. Their plans are not going the way they wanted. And again, they're not just going to give up and say, we're done here. They're going to push their goals to the extreme right now. And we can see it's already started. When we put all of this together, we see that they're boosting the economy up to make it look like it is the best it's ever been, ever, under Obama. And now Trump is coming into the White House. We see right now, out in the Middle East, in Syria, strange occurrences are happening where we have the Russian ambassador dying, one of Putin's staff dying, this plane going down. All these strange things are all happening at the same time. And it looks like it's provocations towards Russia. They want Russia to do something. They want this war kicked off. Even if they come out and say this was a mechanical failure, well, we don't know if anyone was tampering with it. We know planes can be remote controlled. We know they can be shot out of the sky. They haven't really been saying at this point, but eventually it's all going to come out. And we can see right now that they're pushing and pushing and pushing to get this major war started. And I don't believe they're going to stop. I believe we're going to see these events escalate until they get what they want. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.